So I think you're good because it says you're going to third party, so I'll start, okay?
Good. Usually takes a little bit. All right, hit it. Good evening and welcome to the After Hours Show. My name is Joe India. I'm joined by Professor Ann Lee, a retired college professor and community member of the Daily Kos. He's a member of the National Council of Independent Scholars and is a contributor to the book, The Political Economy of Art, Making the Nation of Culture. We're also joined again by Walter of the North of 48, soon to be South 51 podcast. Good evening, everybody.
Hey there.
Live. Hey. You can see and hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay, I was wondering because it's a bit loud out here.
It's fine.
I am now standing on the edge of the Ganges River, or the Ganga, it's called, in the city, town, mountain town, the gateway to the Himalayas, Rishikesh. Some might also know of Rishikesh from across the river over there in that darkness, the abandoned ashram where the Beatles had their third eyes open. We were here last night for what is a daily festival called the Ganga Aarti, where thousands gather, hear sermons, play music, chant, and make offerings such as this one, the leaf basket I found with old cast off flowers that I collected and candles. In keeping with our friend Nancy, who collected the old scrap clothing, cast offs that she would sew into quilts and art pieces. We lost Nancy some weeks ago, and I think I assume, like me, everybody has a sense of lack of closure. We took a while for us to find out that she passed. Communications in these online communities is a bit challenged. And the fact that most of us have never met each other in meet space also makes it a little weird when we lose a major, big figure. Takes up so much space in our minds and our hearts. So what I'd like to do in her honor, because I know she would approve of my taking so much time and my elective travel to get all the way to near the source of the Ganges to give her a send off. Thought we could hold up here. Tide is high. The rocks where I was gonna let it out suddenly got a lot stronger here. The current is quite hard, very windy. Let's see. I can block the wind. If anybody would like to say some words, I'll try to get this lit. Nice. Maybe 3 candles. That's really strong.
Gonna miss your spirit, Nancy. We're gonna miss everything that you gave us, your understanding of history, art, family, your willingness to share so much of your own life with us, and your philosophy about live life, don't work, don't overwork, live in the moment. And
Preferably don't have a job at all if you can
don't have a
manage.
job, and the joy of creating for the sake of creating.
Yep.
Not to even have anything to finish creating, but this mere process of creating.
Here, here.
I'm gonna miss you, Nancy. Love you.
Oh,
One more time.
oh man.
She's like, you know,
All right, we're gonna have
she's-
to get these guys together. We're gonna have to sink this down.
Throw some
She
gasoline on it.
That's fitting. Thanks, Nancy.
yeah, she's like, you're not gonna get rid of me that easy.
Oh God.
Chloe was mentioning in the Discord how she had a question asked Nancy. I constantly am having questions for Nancy on all the plants that I'm passing that I don't know their names is. They're common names or proper names.
Is it windy there?
Oh, it's very windy.
Yeah, that's gonna be a challenge.
We're gonna just stick the candle.
Yeah, just leave the matches in there.
Yeah. Conflagration.
There you go.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh,
Go. Yes.
that's great. Um, very nice.
That actually looks really nice. I'm reminded at this moment of Lane's rendition of Candle in the Wind.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite a fast current. We took a bathe or a dip further down. Oh, there she
Uh-oh.
goes.
Mm.
That's enough.
We have a bit of the moon.
Excellent.
Good job, Joe.
Okay.
Joe?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how stable my internet is, so that's will be it for me this evening. I may stick around, try to keep online.
Okie doke.
Joe,
Uh,
thank you so much.
Yes.
Thanks,
Okay.
Joe.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Joe, not many
Oh,
people know.
yes.
Not
Yep.
many people know that Joe was a skater boy in his younger years.
Yeah.
And you've got a bit of a busted up ankle, right?
I do
Well,
indeed.
I think Harsh can back me up on this. The Ganges is a magical river. You should make sure you get your ankles soaked in that river, and it will
Oh, yes.
magically heal.
I've heard about these magic qualities, but I think I might have to soak here for many years to, to fix my wrists, my ankles, my knees.
That sounds good. Well, Joe, that's tremendous. It's a tremendous view. Thank you so much.
Right, everybody.
All right, I guess we're doing the talk show, so I'll say a few words and then we'll go to Anne. Joe
Okay.
obviously isn't going to cook today, so I don't know what you're going to do with all that cilantro, Joe.
Yeah.
I have a couple of suggestions, but I won't. So we'll start off with the magical letter that Donald Trump got from the king, and he came out with something today. Says that he loves King Charles because King Charles, apparently, according to Donald Trump, has offered the United States to be an affiliate of the Commonwealth, which to a Canadian, I would go, "Rawr, no way." But Trump says it's a good idea. He really does. So, but that's Trump. One of the things I want to talk about, I just got a few short things here. So is that Judge Barr's Musk's Doge team, unless you were going to talk about this.
No.
Okay, so a federal judge issued a temporary restraining order barring Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency team from getting access to personally identifiable information from the Social Security Administration. Doge has come out saying that they're going to make everybody who's part of Social Security an affiliate member of Doge. So whatever ruling that happens will affect the Social Security Department. I just want to say, holy mackerel. What have you guys done in America? Imagine him getting all the Social Security numbers and stuff. I don't even see the point. One of the worst stories this week is a white couple who forced adopted black children to work as slaves, sentenced to hundreds of years in prison. The stories about having the kids become slaves. Janine K. Whitefeather received up to 215 years in prison, and her husband, Donald Lance, will serve up to 160 years, the maximum sentence. The pair were convicted of forced labor, human trafficking, and child abuse and neglect in January. They brought these children to West Virginia, a place that is known as almost heaven, and you put them in hell. This is what the circuit judge says. He also said, may God have mercy on your souls, because this court will not. He also went on to say, how can you sleep at night? I know that you are a monster. And basically, the couple adopted 5 black siblings in Minnesota, then moved to a farm in Washington State in 2018, and then moved to West Virginia in May of 2023. The eldest daughter and her teenage brother were locked in a shed at the couple's homes, and a child welfare call led to this discovery of these 2 teenagers. Police pried open the door with a crowbar. They found a porta potty, but no lights or running water. They had been locked in the barn and not fed for 12 hours. They were forced to sleep on concrete floor without any mattresses. They both wore dirty clothes and had body odor, police noted, according to the filing. So basically ICE before ICE was a thing. Inside the main residence, a 9-year-old girl was found crying in a loft alone. 3 hours later, one of the parents arrived with an 11-year-old boy, soon followed with a 5-year-old girl by the other parent. All 5 were turned over to Child Protective Services. Is dreadful. They were verbally abused all the time, according to the eldest daughter, fed mostly peanut butter sandwiches at scheduled times. So 2 white people adopted 5 black kids and forced them through this. It's just egregious. One of the things I noticed through everything is that Senate Democrats are questioning what Sanders and Ocasio-Cortez have done. Mainly Alyssa Slotkin, who did the Democrat response to the President Trump's speech, says, "What have they done? And what do people expect me to do?" So to Senator Slotkin, I would say they've done a lot. They're out on a barn raising tour, going to red states, getting thousands of peoples out, and Senator Slotkin's staying at home with some of the other Democrats. Is there such a thing as a MAGA lefty? Anybody?
Don't know.
I don't know either. So I've got a
I
few.
mean, if you wanted to analyze it that way, Bernie bros are kind of MAGAs, left MAGAs. I wouldn't make that assertion, nor as a Bernie supporter would I, but I think that's the argument.
Well, it's a bad argument. Just saying. Okay, I have a video for you guys here.
All right.
Because we're going to get to immigration in a second here.
There might be, but it would, you have that artificial line that goes, that straight artificial, that looked like it was drawn by a ruler. Somebody with I don't mean a ruler like a king, I mean like a ruler, this way. And it's just an artificial line that was drawn in the sand or in the ice. And, can I tell Peter, just, you add that to this country, what a beautiful landmass, the most beautiful landmass anywhere in the world. And it was just cut off for whatever reason. It would be great. Now,
allow me to explain to you, MAGA. Human intelligence is sharply declining. It must be okay then for ICE to be doing exactly the same thing. Yes, immigration in the United States are now stripping down you and hosing you. I kid you not. I don't know if you got a green card. No. It seems to me that if you got a green card, you are more likely to receive that treatment.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Trump. So, German lady was, a German guy was stopped at the border. He had a green card. He was put into ICE. A Venezuelan fellow was picked up with the 300 prisoners and went to El Salvador. And a Canadian lady, who I will bring up here, was also, you might say, mistreated. MAGA won't. Whoops, here we go.
The moment 35-year-old Jasmine Mooney set foot in Canada, she embraced her mother, reunited after spending 12 days in ICE custody. She spent some of that time at this Arizona facility without access to a phone or a lawyer, held in what she described as a freezing cold cell alongside dozens of other women facing similar visa-related issues. She says it was like being kidnapped.
I do not wish it upon anyone, to be honest. Like, no one deserves to go through that.
Mooney is an entrepreneur and actress with roles in American films. She had previously lived in Los Angeles on a work visa. After receiving a new job offer, she returned to the San Diego border to restart the visa process, never expecting to be detained.
Next thing you know, I'm taken and for 2 weeks haven't been told anything, moved in different cells, sleeping on cement, sleeping in different jail cells. Like, it just, nothing makes sense to me.
An ICE spokesperson told CBS News that Mooney was processed in accordance with one of the many executive orders President Trump signed after starting his second term. Jasmine Mooney is now using her voice to raise awareness about the conditions she and others face in detention.
I'm not allowed to feel sorry for myself at all because every single person in here is in a way worse situation than me.
Reporting in San Luis, Alexandra Rangel, Arizona's Family.
So there was also two Canadian singers who were picked up by the police, separated. And one of the questions the police, and I forget which state, asked the Canadian singers was, which country do you prefer? Dude, I mean, that's which country do you prefer?
Gotta lie.
Well,
Gotta lie.
their response was quite tactful that they love America and they love Americans, and that seemed to satisfy the police officers. So,
God.
there's that. God is right.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's what I say. Social Security is so now you have Trump's nominated head of Social Security, which I missed here, Frank Bisignano. He's the CEO of FistServe, and he's been known to cut workers, like lots of workers. The employees there say he's a bastard, and his staff reduction at the company that he's the CEO of is anywhere from 2.4 to 3.7% of its workforce, just like the Facebook guy, Zuckerberg, wants to cull the bottom 20% of his workforce. So it's something I should tell you. Our Premier of Alberta has instituted a division of red tape reduction here in the province of Alberta. And yay for all of us. She's following in MAGA's. Geez. Trump Canada, all short. So I didn't, I missed one that I was working on, but here we got Trump taking a question from the Oval Office. Darn it! I had the frig around and find out video. It was very good, and you can't see it today. I apologize.
Okay.
Okay.
There might be, but it would, you have that artificial line that goes, that straight artificial, that looked like it was drawn by a ruler. So
Okay, that's a repeat. I apologize. So go ahead, ask me how I feel about things in America, somebody, Ann. Ask me. Just ask me.
It won't matter. It won't matter. You're going to be the 51st state. We're going to have to all sort of accept A as the appropriate way to speak to you guys at the end of every sentence. A.
Yeah. Well, you got Pete Hexgath, who's running through the military records, and he's taken the gay out of Enola, as in the Enola gay. Some black military figures, even Jackie Robinson, they had deleted from the history. They put Jackie Robinson back. I was watching a show on the Second World War and about black military people, and some of them it took 30, 40 years to get their Silver Cross for saving a bunch of white guys like at Pearl Harbor. So that's it's really bad. Racist America, can we say?
With respect, it's never not been a racist America. It's just that there are periods of tolerance that have been somewhat recent, but other people who are afraid of the future or, insecure about their own issues.
Mhm.
It's clearly an esteem issue. Would love to have the military, the U.S. military, go back to the way it was before 1947. When their services were desegregated.
Well, I
By Harry
remember
Truman.
in Britain, the black soldiers were drinking. There were three pubs in one of the towns, and one of the white military police people told the bar owners that they would have to. It has to be segregated according to American rules. So they put up a sign that said only colored people allowed. So that was good on Britain for doing that. I'm very disappointed in America, Anne, and I don't know who to send a letter to. What are the people doing in America? I mean, you've got lazy Democrats and then you've got some that like Bernie Sanders. My God, give that guy a medal already. He's just going to town, taking the MAGA folk to task. Some other
Well,
people following him, but go ahead.
no, I agree. The Bernie and AOC show is a good one.
Tim Walz
relatively.
is out there now.
Yeah, I think they're barnstorming through the swing states, which is important, and at least giving some folks some outlet, some place to go other than town halls to complain against GOP Congress people. I agree with you about Slotkin, but I think Slotkin, unfortunately, is of a certain crowd of ex-military Democrats who, if you want to use it in a formulaic way, the only woman who will become president of the United States will likely be one who is more towards the center, and even more towards the center in the sense that probably a woman who is a veteran. Democrat will become president, but whether that's going to happen in the next decade or so is unclear, certainly unclear. But Slotkin is one of, I think, with all due respect, a generation of women who rose in the military and who have some standing as politicians, and that's going to be the way it is probably for the next decade.
Well, maybe Tulsi Gabbard can come back and become
Oh
a
yeah,
Democrat
really?
run
Speaking,
military person.
well, that formula's been on her mind, and it's pretty clear that when if and when Trump goes, Tulsi's going to be out there.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt it. I don't think I've ever seen America this bad, to be honest. And America's standing in the world. Everybody was kind of scared. Well, they thought, well, America could do stupid things like with their bombs, especially their bombs and their guns. But now they've overreached where you've got the EU now looking at 1 trillion, almost $1 trillion dollars in financing for European military hardware. And Canada, it looks like they're in the mix too to get a slice of that, and they're going to start producing out here in Canada. Canada went out and got the Australian radar system for the Arctic, and so we can see the Americans coming now if they come across the border. Apparently, I mean, can you imagine that though? A soldier being asked to go into Canada and go take it over. Like I said, you can have Toronto. We'll give that up, no problem. I wonder if it's much like the Russians, where the Russians were told to bring ties and stuff because there's going to be a celebration in Ukraine and it'll be over in 3 days, right?
Well, they truly did believe that, considering, there were more than one guy who brought their uniform with them, and they thought they would seize it in 3 days. Not that they got close, but they certainly did seize a heck of a lot of territory in the first week or so, which, but, I think they just believe that people will just roll over for them. I think that's what Americans think they'll do to Canada. All you have to do is seize, well, maybe not Toronto, but
Take it. It's yours.
take Vancouver. They might take
Hey,
Vancouver.
no.
But no, Seriously, I mean, the original plan was to, blockade all the ports. We'll take Halifax and Vancouver and, blockade Toronto and everything.
Right. And Canada had a plan too,
Oh,
the
yes,
reverse of it, and
absolutely.
they even went into Vermont. And one of the things that they were on this, investigation mission. One of the things that stuck out to me is one of the proponents of the plan said the women in Vermont are stocky, so they're quite strong. I remember that. I
Well,
just
I don't know. Just, with due respect to Canadians, there are more cows than people in Vermont, so maybe they made a mistake. Anyway,
well,
yes.
I'll give you the floor, Anne, if you want to talk whatever you want to talk about.
Well, it's been a tough week. That's all. I mean, we've seen insane stuff. In fact, the Canadians are leading on vandalism of Teslas. I guess 80 Teslas got damaged at a dealership somewhere outside of Toronto, I think.
Right. And Vancouver too. Musk isn't allowed at the International Car Show there. His
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Right. And three Americans have been up to 20 years in prison for Molotov cocktails on cars and buildings of Musk's.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that they're not independent dealerships. They're just showrooms for, I mean, it's like gas stations. Some gas stations are just extensions of the corporation. Others are independently owned. So, striking at a showroom, as it were, site is striking directly at Tesla. I mean, the big issue is insurance. That is, there's a little bit of rumor or disinformation going on the internet about insurance for your Tesla. Um, I, there are a lot of other side issues. I think it could be that, and I was thinking this when that French Tesla dealership went up in smoke, that a lot of it is about insurance and it's not necessarily about actual vandals, but that's another story. I think some people will want to write off their loss. People are certainly trying to sell their Teslas. I think the interesting thing will be people who are sufficiently reactionary to spend that incredible amount of money, but get only have to pay zero interest. God knows they're just overpriced for one thing. But that's the thing. As people are having a little trouble on insurance, that it might be that their insurance rates will either go up or they might be refused insurance. I think there'll be this margin where people who thought, well, I think be able to get a Tesla cheap, and screw people who are, vandals, are going to, get it both ways. They're not going to be able to get very cheap insurance or insurance at all for their vehicles, as well as a variety of other things. Unfortunately, there's indiscriminate damage. I mean, some people are just opportunists. They're just because they're reactionaries about electric vehicles for whatever reason, because there are some people who are just simply loyal to their internal combustion engines, blowing up or setting a fire. Electric vehicle charging stations that are not Tesla stations. So that's a whole nother set of issues. I mean, there's a lot of things going on there. There's a generation, literally a generation. Mark Kelly, the Arizona senator, I guess he's trying to get rid of his Tesla, but he's had it for a long time. I mean, he got it when it first came out, so he just feels guilty driving one. I think he doesn't want to be attacked in it either. But it didn't help Tesla's cause by attacking Mark Kelly. Musk saying stupid crap about Mark Kelly. That's just the politics are really weird. But there no Teslas are going to be sold in New York City. They closed the showroom, mainly because I think the cops just didn't want to have the hassle of having to guard it every day and
Yeah.
sort of service a rent-a-cop because people were just coming by and breaking windows. So there's that set of reactions. That's very New York. Otherwise, it has its own amusement. I would assert that though that there are other issues that this distracts us from, and there's some real facts. That is, people on the Tesla board are selling their stock. So
Yes, I heard that. Yeah.
this could, Tesla may turn into an Edsel at some moment, and I think that, and this is that moment. What is it, Polestar, whatever it is? They're one of the competitors to, is to Tesla, is offering real deals to trade in your Tesla for one of their electric vehicles. That's one thing. I think
I
if
think they still
go
get the
ahead.
government rebate too, right? Because they
I
pulled
think so.
the rebates, at least in Canada, on the Musk vehicles. So
Yeah, I think that there's it could be an interesting entry point for some kind of entrepreneur, someone who wants to do all the work, and I think that the Chinese can do all the work to what is it, the BYD vehicle that could create an entirely uh, interesting, appropriate, and challenging market for electric cars that would oppose the Tesla, and
right.
uh,
Well, Canada's banned the Chinese electric EV
mm,
vehicle in response to the United States banning it. So I
yeah,
wonder if that'll be pulled back. But I do remember part of it was about the spyware and stuff that are in some electronic goods from Asia, from China. So I don't know.
well,
Maybe they'll come.
they're in everything. Apparently, the Teslas are now having their Sentry software turned on, so that uh, you see, if you I think it's a proximity warning thing, where if you get too close to a Tesla, it switches on and surveils everything, keeps summer safe. It's essentially surveils the area just to protect your Tesla. Now, it's not going to stop certain people who wear ski masks and carry, spray cans, but I think we're all being surveilled anyway. It's why some of us, we go out of the house, we turn our phones off, stuff like that. And
Well, most
I mean,
Canadians have a ski mask, by the way. So
well, there you go. That's asked and answered.
mm. What about Lockheed Martin came and made a proposal to Canada? They said if you keep the F-35s, all of it, because they were talking about, they're reviewing the program right now. They're
Right.
committed to 10 or 12, but if they keep all of them, that they're going to send more work to Canada to fit the parts in. So, do you
Uh,
think there's an off switch and a
no.
software thing?
Well, I think everything might have an off switch if you want to be paranoid about it, and it is
I'm paranoid about it.
Even more paranoid, of course, as I've said before. The Israelis, when they bought their F-35s, they bought them without the electronic hardware. They put in their own electronic hardware, so there's no off switch on an Israeli F-35. So just in case anyone
Smart.
wanted to be paranoid ahead of time. But the fact of the matter is, it's a lot more than that. I think it's just accepting whether you're going to, buy a pig in a poke. The darn thing costs so much, and I mean, there are just a lot cheaper options, and how many actual wars are there going to be? I mean, it's true that, I mean, if you start building them, you're going to want to need to have a war, and that's kind of. I think the Canadians are smart in just saying, well, we're going to rethink this. I mean, they committed to 88 of them, but they committed to them a fair amount of time ago.
Mhm.
But I think this is that moment where Canada needs to talk to Sweden and say, well, I think we should maybe cooperate and make things together, like the Saab JAS 93 Gripen, which is
I
it's a
am
good.
partial to that, and the Raphael out of France too
Yep,
is a very good
exactly,
airplane. So, and
exactly.
that matches right up with the F-35 apparently.
Yeah, and Sweden does the electronics for some American weapons, so it's all there anyway. I don't think you're going to get this line drawn. And also on the American side, A lot of other countries want to buy F-35s, and so even though Portugal and Canada, are having cold feet, they're going to sell them anyway, and for
Mhm.
all the other reasons, because it's not just the planes, it's all the, stuff that goes with it, electronics, training, other kinds of stuff. So that's always the military procurement problem. But that is kind of what we're facing now. On the Ukraine front, it's still on the one hand meaningless. On the other hand, I mean meaningless in the sense that Putin obviously made fun of Trump, made him stand around for a couple of hours while he was still talking with some oligarchs. So that was this week. Putin obviously is not backing down. Most of the analysis says that he really hasn't changed his mind. Now there is this thing where they're going to argue about something that really makes either no sense or has too many conditions built into it, and that is the ceasefire issue. Because ceasefire is, on the one hand, the Ukrainians don't want a ceasefire because just Russians are just going to rearm. And of course, the Russians' terms for ceasefire is, we just want the time to rearm and we don't care. And in fact, does it or does it not apply, for example, to the energy infrastructure? Because at the front end, Trump talks to Putin. They say that the ceasefire will cover energy infrastructure because that was the front end of the message. And then 1 hour later, after they get off the phone, Russia bombs an energy plant. So it just you don't one doesn't trust anyone. On the other hand, the Ukrainians are doing quite a job on long distance drone construction, and they've got stuff. They've got interesting things going. There's stuff they don't talk about that I'm sure they're working on. All up to and including, I'll bet you they got a nuke that that they're ready to build. I mean, it's not like, they lost all that intelligence or whatever when they gave back the weapons. So there's other stuff, I'm sure.
Well, they've maintained nuclear facilities too as well. So I'm sure
Yes.
like you said, the intelligence is still there. The Kursk retreat, part of it, what I've heard, I don't know if this is true, is because of the Americans declining to give the intelligence to the
Well, they
Ukrainians, that they lost part of Kursk as a result.
yes and no. They did. There was a brief couple of days when they didn't provide intelligence, but with all due respect, I'm sure that the Ukrainian. I like trusting the Ukrainians on this. I think that the Ukrainians probably prepared for it. Besides, they're getting intelligence from the French and the Brits, and they're getting non-U.S. NATO intelligence somewhere.
With
And
alien drugs and an occasional takeover of an alien civilization and becoming their queen. She's
what
gone
the
on.
hell? What the hell? What happened?
We've been invaded. The space people are here now. Yeah,
I didn't
no.
say. Carry on. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, no, you're probably true, but I think I was reading in a Telegram blog that somebody was saying that the Russians knew exactly where the Ukrainians were too, as well.
Mm-hmm.
And is that through the Musk Starlink? I don't know. Part of it. Oh, actually, I'll let you answer that. Go ahead.
No. I think that there's been subversion of all kinds of channels, of electronic channels. It's very fluid, and it's unfortunate that I think they've played that game a lot during the war. So, one can't really trust Starlink, but it's my understanding that there's a French a system that can replace most of Starlink within the context of Ukraine. Now, whether they can get that in place in time, I'm not sure, but it seems to me that the EU or NATO, without the US, has been working on workarounds. They've been planning for Trump. I'm pretty sure. I mean, if they wouldn't be that, it would be a sin.
Yeah,
It would be
well, that's true.
criminal it would be criminal not to prepare for Trump, and I think that that's what they're doing. I mean, the Poles just mined the border with that little strip that is the Belarusian border. So, you know, they're everyone is trying to be safe about this, and the
The
Poles are
Baltics
pretty
too,
bellicose in that sense.
right? And the Baltics too withdrew from the Ottawa Convention on mines.
Yes.
They're thinking about doing that too. Yeah, the company Euratel has said that they have enough bandwidth to supply intelligence,
Yes.
have enough satellites, and so they're primarily for business, but I'm sure they can. Sometimes business is war, right? So
Yes, or vice versa. I you know, it could expand in some other bizarre way, and it's unfortunate, but you know, I keep hoping that the Belarusian resistance, you know, all those people who were repressed by what's his name, Lukashenko, will, you know, at some moment revolt. I'm sure they're just, you know, keeping their powder dry, because I don't think that you know, why would they capitulate to the Russians in that context? But maybe they were. You know, I don't know. Um,
and Belarus has Russian nuclear missiles on site
yes,
in the
they
Russian compound.
purportedly they put them in a while back, and they're based somewhere. I think there was a report on exactly where they have a you know, there is a facility where they are. So I'm sure that's like Target One. Um, but who knows? We'll see. This is it's a fluid situation. We're
Yeah.
getting close to the top of the hour, and
I just want one more thing. I just want to
sure.
mention Israeli pagers, gold and silver. One went to Trump, one went to Musk. Do you think those things are still active? We're trying.
I wouldn't doubt it. Although the damn thing, I guess it's solid silver, right? That's like a
Right.
block. And just the fact that they're using them as symbols is just, it's a kind of arrogance, you know, that,
Oh, it is. Yes.
yeah, I mean, it's just incredible that, you know, a lot of folks got blown up with those things. I mean, you know, it has an interesting message built into it. That's all. You know, that's where we are now, I think, with, and unfortunately or fortunately, you know, Israel Gaza has fallen off the you know, the front pages. I don't like that, but you know, that's, you know, we're more concerned on at least in this country about people being nabbed off the street because they had some weird connection to Palestinians, and then the problematic part, of course, is this disappearing that's as you touched on. You know, they pick them up off the street and then they fly them to Louisiana the next day. You know, it's that kind of Latin American style disappearing of people that is incredibly problematic. You know, I mean, and of course they pick the most radical examples. You know, the guy who got dragged off to Louisiana, his wife is pregnant. You know, it's just, and she's an American, so it's just like there's all kinds of other stuff going on that I think people are just angry about. I don't think Americans are, you know, we're all keeping our powder dry because we see that it's just getting out of control. And it's unfortunate that the only means by which we can fight back is the legal system. I mean, it's and even that's letting us down. I mean, the cops, you know, at the beginning of the week, whatever it is, with the Institute of Peace, right? It's an NGO. It's not a government organization. It's a 501c3, I think, and to have the FBI complicit in trying to take over the building, and then, you know, what happens if you're working in a building that's about peace and they send the FBI in to, you know, take over your stuff, and then you call the cops and then the cops let the FBI in? That's just kind of where we are. It is that alone. There's complicity issues that people need to be really angry about, and I think we will be. I mean, the weather's getting better. Protest time is coming. Demos are going to happen. There's a whole list of demos coming up. Um, there's a lot to be angry about.
Well, you can always blame Canada, And
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, maple syrup and everything. Jesus
oh,
Christ.
okay. What's your calendar like for the weekend here?
Uh, Weekly Marks is 3 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturdays and Sundays. I'm covering the chapter 14 and chapter 15 of the 2024, the new edition, translation of Marx's Capital, Volume 1, the Princeton edition. And they're very short and they're easy to read. And as I'm discovering, it's easier to read because I don't like reading kind of weirdly translated 19th century English. It's just a thing I have. Um, but it's a little more, it's easier, at least for people like me to read. And so that's the weekend. I don't know if John's here. John, are you around to talk about Rod Serling tonight in 30 minutes?
I am. Yes. Tonight I'm going to be, as a transition between Twilight Zone and Night Gallery, I'm going to be showing a PBS documentary, the American Masters series, about Rod Serling, his life and career. And it's a very well produced documentary. I think everybody will find it fascinating. So that's what's on the schedule for tonight.
John, ask me what my one regret is, okay? Ask me.
What's your one regret?
Well, I once walked down to Electric Avenue, but I never took it higher. So
Okay, I have one other question for you, Walter. Which country do you prefer?
oh.
Whoa.
You don't have to answer that.
Oh,
Well,
God.
since our audience is bi country, I prefer where I am is that's where home is. How about that?
There we go.
Good answer.
John, tell us about Sunday. What Star Trek Next Generation episode will we see?
Yeah, so that's it's a good one. It guest stars Merrick Buttrick and Judson Scott, who are both actors that appeared in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. And it is about two different planets that are in a interesting relationship, so to
Oh,
speak.
yes.
There's
That's
a
right.
codependency going
Yes.
on, and I think it's well done. Oh,
It's probably a good episode to explain the concept of codependency as well. I mean, it's pretty clear how they operate. Yes, I think it's an excellent episode from that point of view. Let me just say we're about at the end of our little fun here. Of James, if you have the outro, it'd be nice for us to run that. Let me thank Walter.
Yeah, I can do that.
For being here and helping us understand Canada.
Oh, I don't know,
The
but
Great White North.
well, I do support Marjorie Taylor Greene's choice not to disclose her vaccination status, Anne. That's between her and her veterinarian, as far as I'm.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much, Walter, for being here. Well, another week has, and we're still here. Damn it. We've got a lot of stuff that we do during the week, so you should come to the autonomouscollective.net and find out what we're doing. Even though we're all in different little places, Canada, India, we cover the globe. Anyway, yes, we'll try and do better next week. We will try. Thank you, Walter. Thanks everybody else, John, James, etc. Whoever,
I have a prayer to say before we leave, if you don't mind.
Okie dokie.
If Trump is gone before I wake, I pray to God the news ain't fake.
Indeed.
That's it.
On that note,
On
James,
that
hit it. All righty.